Okay.
Okay. Today, what I'm going to do is get this edge ready for fiberglassing. Let's get a balsa core in there, which I don't want on the edge, so I'm going to taper this back, and then I'm going to glass over and bring it so I have glass to glass, and that'll seal up that edge of the balsa core real nice. Also, it'll give me a good place to fasten this cabin top to the strip that's going to be on the deck. Now, what I used to grind with are these grinding discs. They go in a Porter-Cable paint remover. Now, I got to tell you, I can't stress safety enough when it comes to these things. In fact, Porter-Cable would be horrified if they knew I was using these things for this purpose. But anyway, this is metal, and this edge is about as sharp as a razor. So if you were to just use that with that edge exposed, I mean, you could cut your leg off in a second. Also, if you're grinding on a fiberglass hull, you'd be amazed at how fast that edge would go right through the hull and out the other side. But these discs are wonderful. They will get rid of some fiberglass in a hurry. I mean, like right now. So I use them, but I put it on a backing pad. It's got this edge on it to protect myself should it slip and hit me. Now, that's okay for flat surfaces, but for concave surfaces, you got to adjust them a little bit. So what I do, I take the disc and I gently tap down with a hammer all the way around the edge. Now, I used to have the brake drum from a golf cart with a nice rounded edge, and God, that was perfect. I don't have that anymore. But when I need to do it, I think I'll probably just take a piece of wood and just shape it the way I want it, and then just gently tap it around. Now, when you do that, it makes it nice for concave surfaces. But after a while, they'll start to crack. That's okay. You just take your shears, cut all the cracked parts off, and now you got a smaller disc, which you can again tap down. And I'll tell you, these little discs like that are so handy you wouldn't believe it. These discs save me so much time building Freddy, I can't even begin to tell you. But they can be dangerous. So if you're going to do it, please be very, very careful. Now, a word about grinding. Okay, this boat here, if you look at the glass, the way they laid it up, the outer skin is about 3/32 of an inch. The inner skin is so thin, I couldn't even begin to measure it. It's like less than a 64th of an inch. So if you're going to do any grinding on it, you got to be darn careful, because you'll go through it in a second. So, but I do want to grind it down. One, I know I put paint on here, and I want to get rid of as much of that as possible. And you want that surface to be really rough, so when you lay glass on it, it's going to stick and bond really well. And the way you do that is you use a very coarse disc. And this isn't as coarse as I want, but I ran out of my coarse discs. I have some on order. Hopefully we'll get them today. And you turn very, very slowly. You can see how it's hardly turning. And hopefully I won't grind through the glass that I'm going to bond to, and it will scuff it up really good for bonding purposes. Okay, so that's what I'm going to work on now. You don't need to watch me do that. I'll work on that for a while. Okay, you can see that I ground this surface here where the new glass is going to be bonded to. And you'll notice there's a lot of stuff still left, even a little paint back here, but I don't care. I'd rather have a little paint left than be grinding through that glass all the way, being that it's so thin. It's going to bond just fine. So now what I need to do is grind all the balsa wood away up about 3 inches, and I want it to end up with a nice little angle so the glass will lay down without buckling over that corner. So to do that, I really need one of my blades that have been bent all around the edge so I can get in there nicely. And like I was saying, I'm going to do that over this piece of wood that's been rounded. And I'm just going to gently tap with this nice little hammer. And I'm just going to tap very gently all the way around. I'm not going to try to take too much at a time so it won't crack. So I'm just going to take my time and bend that edge all the way around. And I'll keep going round and round and round till I have the edge that I want. Now it probably won't come out exactly even. And there'll be little bumps and jumps, but from my experience, it's going to work just fine. Now when I get that done, I want to get in pretty close, and these backing discs that I have, okay, hold on a second. Okay, when I get through bending that edge over, you'll see that I still got a lot of plastic around the edge of my disc. So I'm going to take my handy dandy little, again, fabric marker on the black, which will mark that real nicely. I'm going to cut it just a little tiny bit bigger so I can get in close to that edge over there. So we'll probably cut that on the bandsaw. That'll be an easy cut. And just sand it smooth. And then we'll be ready to grind away that balsa and come into a nice angle. Okay, I'm going to finish working on this. We'll be back. Okay, I want to show you how I folded the edge of this grinding disc over just a little bit. And I just tapped it on that piece of wood. It was easy to do, only took a couple of minutes. Tapped it down, and then when I got it, I cut the backing pad just a little bit bigger than the disc. Cut that backing pad just a little bit bigger than the disc so I won't get hurt if I should slip. And just a word about this. This is one of those little cheapy sander polishes from Harbor Freight. And they've worked amazingly well for me. I like the speed control so I can slow it way down. And you know, for $30, $40, if it craps out, throw it in the trash can, get another one. But they do last an amazingly amount of time. So it's not the best tool in the world, but for my purposes, it works okay. So now I'm going to grind away a little bit on this edge and show you just how nicely this works. You better stand back. Okay, we ready to go?
Yes.
And of course now I can use a higher speed because I'm just trying to get rid of material. Okay, I want you to see how nicely that put the little angle on that I was looking for. I don't have to use any Bondo to fill in any square edges or anything. That's ready to fiberglass, and it went right down and only took no time at all. And it's amazing because this disc has got so many hours of use on it and it's still grinding for all it's worth. So even though they cost $10 a piece, they seem to last forever. So I'm going to go ahead and finish grinding that edge down. Even I'm amazed, knowing that it would work. I'm still amazed at how nicely that came out. That's ready for glass. We'll run some glass right down that strip, and we're good to go. I might just, by hand, just touch that little corner. It feels a little sharp there. By hand, I might just smooth that out a little bit. That's nothing. Okay, I finished grinding that edge. And with that tool, you can see how fast and simple it was. It took about 15 minutes to do the whole thing. And then when I was all done on high speed, then I turned it back down to very slow speed so I could really lift up those fibers in this edge to get a nice bond when I laid that other glass on. But you can see how nice that should lay right on there now without any fooling around. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over, do the other side, and then we'll lay some glass on it.